All right, listeners, ready for another deep dive? Today we're talking about Dave Ramsey. This guy is like the king of comebacks.
He really is.
You sit in some of his stuff, and honestly, his story's wild. Became a millionaire super young, then lost it all, but built himself back up. Now,
Mm.
he's this personal finance guru.
It's inspiring, right? He doesn't try to hide from his past money troubles either.
No, not at all. He owns it.
Yeah. He actually uses those experiences to help other people, makes his advice way more relatable.
Totally. So he's got these 5 rules he's always talking about, right?
Yeah.
First one is budgeting.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, not the most exciting topic.
Right.
But he's got a point. He says it's about, like, telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went.
It's all about taking charge, being proactive. It's about figuring out what you care about and then making sure your spending is in line with that.
Like, literally aligning your money with your values.
Exactly.
Makes sense. But how do you actually do that?
Well, when Ramsey was digging himself out of bankruptcy, he and his wife would literally divide their cash into envelopes. They'd have an envelope for groceries, one for gas, and so on.
Wow, like a super old school system.
It sounds kind of extreme, but it worked. And these days, we have apps that do basically the same thing, just digitally, so you can easily see where your money's going and make adjustments.
That makes way more sense, because how can you fix things if you don't know what's broken, right?
Exactly. Awareness is key.
For sure. Okay, so next rule, becoming debt-free.
A big one.
Ramsey really doesn't mess around with this one. Compares debt to being, like, chained up.
Well, he's been there. He had a ton of real estate, and when the market tanked,
Oof, that's got to be rough.
yeah, it hit him hard. That's why he's so passionate about getting rid of debt.
And that's where his whole debt snowball idea comes in, right?
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on which debt has the highest interest rate, he says start with the smallest one and knock it out.
Yeah, the idea is that each small win, motivates you to keep going. It's like a mental game almost.
It's like leveling up your finances. Each win gives you that momentum.
Exactly. It makes the whole process less overwhelming.
That's so smart. Okay, now this next rule threw me off a little bit. Building good relationships, like solid friendships. How does that tie into money?
It's interesting, right? Ramsey's observed that the people you're closest to, their income level often reflects your own.
Wait, really? So you're saying who I hang out with could be affecting how much money I make?
It's not about judging anyone's income or anything like that.
Right.
It's more about recognizing the impact our social circle has on us, even our spending habits. Think about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you're surrounded by people who are financially responsible, it's natural to pick up on their habits.
So, like, if my friends are all about saving and investing, I'm more likely to do that too.
Exactly. And Ramsey talks about how important mentors were for him, especially when he's getting back on his feet. Having people who challenge you to grow is huge.
Yeah. Isn't there a saying, like, you become the average of the 5 people you're around the most?
Something like that. So choose your friends wisely, right?
Right.
It really makes you think about who you're spending time with. Are they supportive? Do they push you to be better?
Totally. It's like your friends should inspire you, not just financially, but in all parts of life. Okay, let's move on to rule #4, which is saving.
Another important one.
It seems kind of obvious, but hearing Ramsey's story makes it so real.
Yeah, if he'd had some savings when he lost everything.
Things would have been a lot less stressful.
Exactly. Having that emergency fund, it's like a safety net.
Totally. So when those unexpected things happen, medical bills, job loss, whatever it is, you're not completely freaking out.
Right. He talks about how saving gives you peace of mind.
It's like taking control instead of letting life just happen to you.
Exactly.
And it also gives you the freedom to actually go after what you want, like starting a business or investing, because you've got that cushion. But it's not all about just playing it safe.
Yeah.
Right. He's big on investing for the future, too.
Oh, absolutely. He's always saying, even if you can only invest a little bit, do it consistently.
What's that analogy he uses? Like a snowball.
Yeah. It starts small, but as it rolls, it gets bigger and bigger.
I like that. Makes
Wow.
it feel way less intimidating. You don't need a ton of money to get started. Just got to be consistent. Okay, last but not least, rule #5 generosity.
This one's interesting.
I know. You'd think someone so focused on building wealth would be all about holding on to every penny.
Right. But Ramsey sees it differently. He actually believes that real wealth isn't just about how much money you have, it's about what you do with it.
So it's about giving back, making a difference.
Exactly. And he doesn't mean just giving when you're rolling in dough. He's talking about being generous even when you're still working towards your own financial goals.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It is. He likes to quote this proverb. It says, "The generous soul will be made rich." Like the more you give, the more you'll receive.
Interesting. So it's not just good karma, it's actually good for your wallet?
Well, maybe, but he also talks about how giving just makes you feel good. Like you're making a difference. And there are actually studies that back that up.
No way, really.
People who are generous tend to be happier and healthier.
Wow, who knew? Okay, we've covered so much today, from the nitty-gritty of budgeting to the surprising power of giving back. It's clear that Ramsey's 5 rules, they're about way more than just money, right? It's
Yeah.
about building a life you love on your own terms.
100%. It's like once you've got a handle on your money, you're free to focus on the stuff that really matters.
Yeah, totally. Like relationships and giving back and just like enjoying life.
Exactly.
So where do you even start with all of this? Like for our listeners who are probably thinking, okay, I'm ready to dive in, but where do I go from here?
Well, I always go back to that first principle, remember?
Awareness,
Yep. Take a good hard look at where you're at financially.
no sugarcoating it.
None whatsoever. Just being honest with yourself about your habits and honestly what you actually believe about money.
It's like checking in with yourself.
Exactly. And from there, you can start making small changes. Like that envelope system we were talking about earlier. Try it out for a month, even if it seems kind of out there. Or pick one debt, even a tiny one, and use that snowball method to knock it out.
I love that. Just pick one thing and focus.
Exactly. You don't have to do everything at once.
And I bet it helps to have support too, right? Like a financial advisor or even just a friend who gets it.
Oh, for sure. Having people around you who can relate, who are working towards similar goals, it makes a huge difference.
True. Well, this deep dive has been incredible. We've unpacked so much Dave Ramsey's story, his 5 rules, and how we can use them to build a better life.
It's been fun.
It really has. And I think the biggest takeaway here, listeners, is that true wealth, it's not just about your bank account. It's about living a fulfilling life, a life that's aligned with what you value.
Couldn't agree more.
So go out there, take charge of your finances, and build the life you want. Until next time on The Deep Dive.
For more tips and insights on personal finance, be sure to follow us and stay tuned for more episodes.